Good evening, Michiko. It is Tuesday. I want to first apologize for how long it took for me to upload my video, even though I told you it would happen sooner. There's two reasons for that. The first is that I did upload a video yesterday that was really, really important to me, and was causing me to freak out a little bit. It was my first time doing a sermon, and it was exhilarating and cool, but that kind of exacerbated the problem of what I want to talk about in this video, which is social media, and how I wasn't sure how to talk about that in the context of faith, queer, and culture. I think I've got my handle on it now, so here we go. This week, twice, I've had to participate in the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. And what I did both times, since I never actually got challenged, I got to dump the ice buckets on my sisters while they did the challenge. It was fun, but the first time had something interesting that I want to talk about. One of my sisters, while doing the challenge, the camera was on, and she started talking, and she just said, "I was challenged by this person," and then she signaled to me to dump the bucket. She didn't say anything about why she was doing it, what the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge was. It was just the novelty. And I said, no, you can't do that. You've got to talk about this is for raising awareness, this is for raising money for charity, and so on. But before I go on to why that's really important, I want to first quell any fears that I'm anti-social media or anti-hashtag activism. I'm very hashtag activism. I think that Twitter activism and doing things on social media as a way of encouraging social justice goals is an incredibly important and innovative way of performing activism. We see it lately in Ferguson and with the Israeli-Palestine crisis right now, that the response has changed, partially because people who didn't have a voice before now have a voice through social media. So parts of the story that weren't getting out beforehand are now getting out. And because of that, the rest of the mainstream media is able to latch onto it and actually be a force for good. So I'm very in favor of hashtag activism. I'm also in favor of mundane social media. I think that sharing something that you thought was funny, or being angry about something on Facebook or Tumblr or Twitter, or sharing a picture of something you ate, or sharing a selfie, those are all totally valid ways of expressing yourself on social media, because you're giving me part of you. But to go back to the Ice Bucket Challenge, I think that intersection between the personal exploration of social media and the activist exploration of social media is really important to focus on, because while both things separately are very, very good, it is almost a function of appropriation when the mundane side takes the activist side and doesn't use it for activism. So the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge, there's valid critiques of it, but to use it for just the novelty seems appropriative and seems like it's using something that is a force for good, or has a purpose and has meaning, and just erasing that meaning for no good reason, and in a way that to me would do harm to the movement that is going on. So when we're talking about social media as a function of culture, and as both a function of like a microcosm of culture and an activist sensibility, that we need to be aware of what we're doing, even if there are all these really interesting different ways of going about it. Let's use our forces for good instead of evil. Let's make sure that when we're doing things, we are using them for all the best purposes for which they were created, instead of taking a hold of things that aren't ours and removing them of their power. Let's use social media as an empowering tool. I want to hear what your thoughts on that are, because I know that you and I use social media for similar things. So get back to me in the next video about what you think about social media as an aspect of culture and activism, and I'll see you when I see you, because the school year's starting in a couple weeks.